Creativity is an addiction. We're forced to live with it. We're forced to love it, to learn from it, to deal with it in the middle of the night or in the middle of the afternoon, to put up with people stealing from it. And yet we continue to create. It's because it's an addiction. Unplugged because we will always say yes to creativity, totally uncut, because we all make mistakes. So turn it into a tool. This is Arroe Unplugged. I write in a forest. I go into that forest to do nothing but listen. What started at the Billy Graham Library in Charlotte, North Carolina, evolved into a lifelong journey. Something is always moving through me. It's my calling. These are my words. These are the lyrics from Billy's Forest. Chapter number 286, October 23rd, 2021. Outside my studio window, there once lived a giant of a tree. No bull when I share this. For years, its limbs crossed, taking on the shape of the religious cross. I could see it every morning as the sun began to rise. Time invited that once giant tree to feed the forest floor. Oh, I was hurt when the beautiful work of art was no longer outside at dawn. Today, I took note of something very different, something I had never seen before. In the center of that aged stump, covered with green moss, is a cedar seedling. It's growing right there in the center of that once tall tree, feeding the forest floor. The once giant of a tree had so much energy in its rooting system that it invited the needs of a completely different tree to make its base a brand new home, sharing the forest floor so that new life can touch future walkers, creative writers, believers in inspiration, and teachers of exploration. The cedar seedling in the heart of a once very tall tree. There's glory in universal energy. Allow the cedar to speak to all who will one day pass by, for in nature, there's always a story. I'm looking at that very stump even as we speak. I'm right here in the studio, probably maybe 23, 24 feet off the forest floor, overlooking this forest in South Charlotte, North Carolina. I can see the cedar. But I do wonder many times how many generations after my time will stop by and wonder, how did this cedar get inside this tree trunk? How is it even possible? I think it starts with the limbs crossing right in front of me inside the studio, taking on the religious cross. There's something very spiritual in that place. And it's fun to go into that area as a writer and just listen, to hear where other animals have passed by. I see the deer all the time. It's amazing how many deer will walk into this one area. How often do you get the opportunity to find those spots of just energy? I don't want to call it religion because I don't want to turn you off. Just energy, a place of positive something. You don't have to try to explain it because you're going to come back a different day and you're going to get a different definition. Just that place where you know that when you're there, you go, I'm here. I just know that I'm here. I remember coming down from Montana in March of 1995. It was a 59-and-a-half-hour drive in a U-Haul truck with an Alaskan Malamute and a gigantic boa constrictor snake in the back. And after those 59 and a half hours, I remember standing on Kings Drive in Charlotte, North Carolina. And the moment that I put my feet on the ground, I had that feeling of, I'm in the right place. I can't believe it, but I really feel like I'm in the right place. How many of those places do you have in your life, and have you documented those places? More importantly, have you shared them with other people? Because long after you're gone, it can still serve as a place of feeding the forest floor. Over your head? I don't think it is, because I know that you know what I'm talking about. You've been to those places where it's like, I'm there. I'm in this moment of now. And I wonder why it is that we feel these things. What goes on beneath the surface of this planet? I once sat with a preacher and I told him, I think the most beautiful part of a tree is what we don't see. And he disagreed with me. He says, no, everything up here is where the glory of this tree is. And I said, I don't think so. I think it's beneath the surface because there's energy down there. And through that energy, it travels through the roots, through the trunk, outside the leaves. And we are the receivers of that. But I believe the most beautiful part of a tree is beneath the surface. So I take it to this direction. What is the most beautiful part of you? Is it what you do on the outside? Or is it right here on the inside? Where do your roots get its source of energy? I'm Arroe. These are not my words. These are the lyrics from Billy's Forest.